Where did I say?
It's under stocks.
It's under 1. Alright, stocks. Alright, so remember that stocks represent an ownership of a corporation, certificate of ownership, alright? Companies have a couple of options when they need additional funds or when they need to raise funds, borrow money, go to the bank, issue debt, or sell shares of stocks. We have talked a little bit about dividends, and we want to talk a little bit more about dividends probably next time when we meet after the exam. But we talked about it, and I think one of you already said, well, dividends are cash flows that shareholders of dividend-paying stocks receive every quarter. All right, some stocks do not pay dividends while others do pay dividends. All right, and it's important for you to know. Again, mostly tech stocks do not pay dividends, but I'm there to give you an idea of what the fair price should be. But as you can see from this formula over here, they are based on future expected dividends. Okay, so that's the basic valuation model for stocks. Do not have to memorize it, but you just look at it and say, well, that's the valuation model. I'll see this, and I want you to look at a couple of other models. The first one is, we have the bond valuation model, then we have the basic valuation model, and then we have we have an example, right? So this is the bond valuation model. We have the basic valuation model we talked about, and then we have the stock valuation model. Okay? So if you look at the bond valuation model, we just talked about it. The main differences are, number one, we have coupons, we have dividends over there. Ours are the required rate of return. We have par over here. We have the selling price of the stock at the end of the holding period. Main difference is that for bonds, all the cash flows are certain. Okay, so we know all the bond. If you remember, we saw over here. This is the bond quote. We know yield to maturity is that. We know the coupon payments are going to be that per annum. We know the price was that. We know we're going to get the future value. For stocks, however, nothing is certain if you look at it. So everything is left to uncertainty. Okay, so we have all these dividends. As you know, dividends grow over time. You have dividend 1 year could be significantly different from dividend in year 2. And we will plot next time when we come and we talk a little bit more about dividends. We will see that when you buy a stock that pays dividends, your expectation is that the dividend is going to grow, over time. It's not going to be the same. It's going to go over time. That's your assumption. That's your hope. So everything over here is uncertain. We don't know what the pH is. Okay, so let's say I hold Walmart. I want to hold it for 10 years. I have no idea what pH is going to be or the price at the end of 10 years. I can assume it's going to be 100 something or 200 something, but I don't know with certainty what all these numbers are supposed to be. So this is the basic model that is used to calculate the price of a stock. Okay. However, if you think of valuing a company that has been there for many decades, like Walmart or IBM, it's kind of hard because how far into the future do you go, and how do you really value stocks? So just remember what the differences are between two. Again, dividends, everything left to uncertainty. For stocks, for bonds, all the cash flows are known. But there are a couple of models that are out there that are canned formulas or simplified formulas that are used to value stocks, but that are based on some assumptions about future growth rate in dividends. Okay, and we're going to look at these models. The dividends never grow, or grow at 0%. So let's say we started out with $3 dividend per quarter, $3 per share per quarter. Okay? The assumption is that the dividends never grow, but stays at $3 forever. So very restrictive, okay? Dividends never grow, it just stays at $3. And we'll learn a formula for that. It's a very easy formula. Second assumption, or which Bart's assumption, is that dividends do grow, but at a constant rate G forever. G might be 4%, 3%, 2%, 1%. So Bart relaxes the assumption a little bit and says dividends do grow at X%, whatever X is. Finally, Homer's assumption is a little bit more realistic in the sense that dividends, let's say when companies, let's say it's a new, not a very well-known company, okay? You start out with the company, just to attract investors, it increases dividends quite significantly for a couple of years. Now that you have the investor base, now they level out the dividend. So the third one that we're not going to go over today is that dividends grow, or dividends grow for quite a lot for a period of time, and then the dividends level up, most realistic again. So let's look at 1 and 2 again. Assumption for 1, dividends never grow, or the growth rate is 0%. The second one, dividends grow at a constant rate, G forever. So we'll just look at 2 models, okay? The zero growth model and the constant growth model. Right, so now, so the zero growth model, this is the formula for the zero growth model, right? P equal D by R, price, so let's read this. Price of a stock at time period 0 equal dividend divided by the required rate of return. The dividend doesn't matter because the D's are all the same, so it doesn't really matter which D we are talking about, but because the assumption is, dividend year 1 is the same as dividend year 2 and year 3, year 4, year 5, so on and so forth. Here is an example I have. Suppose a big deal company will pay an annual dividend of $2 that will neither increase nor decrease. The market rate of return is 8.5%, so what is the price of big deal company? Or they ran out of names or something. I don't know, why wouldn't you have big deal company? All right. So what is it? Zero growth, what is it? A zero growth model. I'll tell you it is because it says dividends never grow. And we're going to use this formula. I'm going to write down the formulas on the board actually. So for the zero growth, and we will do a couple of examples real quick so that you're more or less comfortable. All right, guys, I've decided for the stock. Let's try this. So zero growth, the formula is this: P0 equal D by R, and constant growth, the formula is P0 equal D1 divided by R minus G. Okay, that's the formula. We'll talk about that. So this example is a zero growth example because it says dividend is $2 and it remains fixed at $2 forever. Market rate of return is 8.5%. How do we solve this problem? We just take the $2 divided by 8.5% and our price comes out to be $23.53. Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes?
Yeah.
People at the back?
Yes.
So again, the people not at the very back, but in front of the last row. Front of the yes, okay. So P0 equal again D divided by R. Our D was 2, our R was 8.5%. We have the price as 23.53. The next one we're going to look at is called the constant growth rate. All right. So constant growth rate is P0 equal D1 divided by R minus D. And we will do an example that has the constant growth rate. All right. So we have over here, what is the value of the stock that expects to pay a $3 dividend next year and then increase the dividend at a rate of 8% per year indefinitely? Assume a 12% expected rate of return. So in the constant growth model, so we have dividend in year 1, this is the required rate of return, and this is the growth rate in dividend. So an assumption is that R must be greater than G for this equation to hold, because R is required and G again is the growth rate. So and again, D1 is the dividend in year 1. So that's the dividend that you have to use, dividend in year 1. D2 is the dividend in year 2. And so on and so forth. So let's try this. How do we plug it in the formula?
3 divided by 12.
Okay, 3 divided by 0.12 minus 0.08, okay? 3 divided by 0.04, and that's $75, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these are the 2 models that we need to know about. Now, we have another thing that you need to know is well, not really this. All right, let's look at another problem that I have in the handout, I believe. All right, let's try number 1 and 2, and we will see that there is a little bit of difference between 1 and 2. So let's try 1 and 2. And I want to write this formula. So we have that formula, P0 equals D1 divided by R minus G. Or P0 equals D0, 1 plus G divided by R minus G. All right? And I want you to pay some attention when you're doing that problem. I want you to pay some attention. This is expected dividend, or dividend year 1, and this one over here is the current dividend. So if you look at question number 1 and question number 2, you see that in question number 1 we have find the stock price given expected dividend in year 1 is $2. All right, so that's question number 1. And question number 2, however, says that find the stock price given the current dividend is $2. All right, so in question number 2, it's giving you the current dividend. So this is question is G or the other one?
The first one.
D1 divided by R minus G. Did you get it?
Yeah.
All right, so what is our G1? 2?
2. G1 is 2 and R is 12 and G is 6.
All right, and what is the answer?
33.
33.13?
33.
Okay. All right, number 2, it's already done the problem for you. Again, why are we not using the D1 formula? Why aren't we using D1 R minus D formula? Why aren't we doing that?
We don't know which one is the first one.
All right, we don't have it. The information is not given to us, right? We don't have D1. Because again, read the questions carefully. It says current dividend is $2 per share. All right, in case of the zero growth model, the growth rate is not given to you. So you know automatically the equation has to be P0 equals D divided by R, okay? Because the growth rate is not given to you. So are you kind of clear with 1 and 2? Just read the questions carefully, okay? When it says current, you use that one. When it says that, you know, I wanna do one more thing that you've already seen before, which is calculating the expected rate of return and then call it a night, okay? Let's look at this. It says, what would an investor be willing to pay for a stock if she expected to receive a dividend of $2.50 each year indefinitely and her required return is 15%? If you look at this question, we see that, well, G is not there in that question. So, you know, by default, we know it's the zero growth model. By default, we know that, well, it says 2.5 indefinitely. It's not growing. So we know it's going to be 2.5 divided by 0.15, which is 16.67, okay? All right, so that and a variation of that, and then the final one that we're going to do is known as calculating expected rate of return. That's the last one. And no. I guess I need to use the board. I will be done.
Tells you how much money you'll make overall.
Okay, how much money or how much return in percentage terms are we making overall? So we will stop over here after finishing this so that you are more or less comfortable with these kind of problems, okay? Alright, so we have again, this is the expected rate of return. The formulas that we have on the board, they are asking for, they're solving for the price of a stock. Price of a stock, okay? Zero growth or constant growth. Now we're looking at the return, the other side, or return, okay? So how do we calculate the return? Return on any investment, let's say. So we have, this is the formula. Now you can look at this formula. We have selling price minus cost price plus dividend divided by cost price, or selling price minus cost price divided by the cost price plus dividend divided by the cost price, okay? So this one over here, this is known as capital gains. Capital gains. This over here is known as the dividend yield. And let's talk a little bit about it. It's very intuitive actually, it's very easy to understand. Capital gains, what do you think of when you think of capital gains? Capital gains.
When you buy something and then you sell it for something more than what you bought it for?
Very good, very good. Whatever return you're earning when the stock price or an investment, the value of the investment is growing in value, right? So let's say it was $100 and then it grew to 150. So that's your capital gains. That's your capital gains, all right? Dividend yield, or some stocks, again, if it's a non-dividend paying stock, then it doesn't have a dividend yield. If it's dividend paying stock, it does have it. But that's the proportion of return that can be attributed to the dividend, okay? So this is capital gains, this is dividend yield, and when we add them together, we have the total rate of return on your security, okay? So let's make up some questions, okay? I'll look at some numbers and we will make up 2 examples. One for Facebook that we know doesn't pay dividends, one for Walmart that does pay dividends. Finance. I don't know, I just like this interface better. B. Alright, let's look at historical. We're going to look at 1 year, approximately. Let's do 127 and 80. I'll just have whole numbers, okay? Alright, so Facebook we had, and let's do it on Excel actually, it's easier for everybody. 127, 80. There's an approximate numbers. 70, 65, and then let's do $2, okay? 70, 65, and 2, okay? And ready. Alright, so we're going to calculate the return for Walmart and for Facebook, assuming that we held it for 1 year. 0.16 SP, let's say, or this was actually from 2015 to 16. SP in 2015 was 27. CP was 80. Dividend 0, or just blank. All right, let's calculate capital gains. Let's calculate dividend yield. Div yield and total return. So that'd be, and then we have Walmart. WMT selling price in 2016 is about 70. Cost price is about 65. Dividend is about $2 for the whole year. And let's again calculate capital gains, yield, dividend yield, and total return. All right. So I'll help you with that. Let's do the first one on the board. We have Facebook. What's our formula and how do we calculate the return for Facebook? Alright, for Facebook, what do we do?
Divided by 8.
Alright, let's set it up. Facebook again. So we're assuming again we bought it in 2015, we sold it in 2016. So our formula again was, remember, what was it? Selling price minus cost price plus dividend divided by cost price, or selling price minus cost price divided by cost price plus dividend divided by cost price, okay? So for Facebook, which formula is applicable?
Without.
Only this one, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't pay any dividends. So we're gonna do selling price was 127 minus 80 divided by 80, and this is for Facebook. And how much does it come out to be?
59%.
Okay, about 60% or 59% approximately. And we only have the capital gains yield, that's it. We don't have the dividend yield, right? So that's the total return. The capital gains yield is the total return for Facebook. Yes or no? That's the selling price, that's the cost price, dividend zero. Let's do it for Walmart now. What is the capital gains yield? Capital gains is 70 minus 65 divided by 65, right? Dividend yield is 2 divided by 65. Somebody do the math.
That is 12% in
Right.
total.
What is that? What is that?
7.69.
7.69 plus
That will be
0.03.
0.03
Yep.
is percent, or what is it? Just give me the percent numbers.
Oh, that's 3.08%.
And the total is what?
12%.
Approximately
10.77.
12.77?
10.77.
All right, so a question like this should be fair game on the test. All right, calculating again, capital gains yield, dividend yield, as well as total return on an investment. Okay, so it's again, I don't like the formula that I have on my notes, but just remember selling price, cost price, dividend, and then divided by cost price again. All right, to help you remember this formula, I'll write down a very easy example, okay? Let's say it's 2015 and you buy something for $100, okay? It's 2016 now, the price has gone up to $150, okay? So how do you remember this formula? It's very easy. You know that, well, it's 50%, right? You can see that it's 50% return, right? So, okay, so how do we get it's 150 minus 100, 100 times 100%, and that is again selling price, cost price, and again cost price again. If we had a dividend here, let's say our dividend was $10, we already know that we would add 10 divided by 100, or our return would be 60%. So, you know, it's very, very easy. You don't just don't take it as a